What if the one food you were told to avoid is actually the key to losing belly fat? Today we're talking about eggs and what happens when you eat 4 of them every single day. For decades, eggs were blamed for raising cholesterol and causing heart problems. Most people were told to limit them to 2 or 3 a week, but the science has changed dramatically. Researchers now know that dietary cholesterol from eggs has very little effect on blood cholesterol for most people. The real story of eggs is much more interesting, especially for belly fat. One large egg contains about 6 grams of high-quality protein, 5 grams of healthy fat, and almost 0 carbohydrates. It is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. When you eat 4 eggs a day, you are consuming roughly 24 grams of complete protein in one food source. That protein is critical for what happens to your belly fat. Here is the first thing that happens. Protein has the highest thermic effect of any macronutrient. Your body burns up to 30% of the calories from protein just by digesting it. This means every time you eat eggs, your metabolism gets a measurable boost. Your body works harder, burns more energy, and generates more heat, all from simply eating. But there is something even more powerful happening. Eggs contain a nutrient called choline. Most people have never heard of it, but choline directly targets belly fat at the cellular level. Choline is essential for fat metabolism. It helps your liver process and transport fat out of your body. Without enough choline, fat begins to accumulate in the liver and around the abdomen. 4 eggs a day provides roughly half your daily choline requirement. Studies show people with higher choline intake have significantly lower body fat, especially in the abdominal region. Now let's talk about hunger. One of the biggest reasons people store belly fat is overeating, especially overeating carbohydrates and sugar later in the day. Eggs are incredibly satiating. The combination of protein and fat in eggs triggers the release of satiety hormones including peptide YY and GLP-1, which signal your brain that you are full. In a clinical study, people who ate eggs for breakfast consumed significantly fewer calories for the rest of the day compared to people who ate a bagel with the same number of calories. On average, the egg group ate 300 to 400 fewer calories per day without trying. Over weeks and months, that caloric difference directly translates to belly fat reduction. Here's something most people do not know. Eggs contain leucine, the most anabolic amino acid. Leucine directly activates muscle protein synthesis, the process that builds and preserves muscle. Why does muscle matter for belly fat? Because muscle is metabolically active tissue. Every pound of muscle you carry burns more calories at rest than the same pound of fat. When you eat eggs consistently, you preserve and build lean muscle. More muscle means a faster resting metabolic rate, which means your body burns more belly fat even while you sleep. Now let's look at insulin. Belly fat, especially visceral fat, is deeply connected to insulin resistance. The more resistant your cells are to insulin, the more fat your body stores around your organs. Eggs have a very low glycemic index. Eating them does not cause a significant spike in blood sugar or insulin. This is critical because keeping insulin low allows your body to access stored fat for energy. When you replace high-carbohydrate breakfast foods with eggs, your morning insulin response drops significantly. This sets your entire hormonal environment for fat burning rather than fat storing. There's also an effect on cortisol. Cortisol is your stress hormone, and high cortisol is one of the main drivers of belly fat accumulation, particularly visceral fat deep inside the abdomen. Eggs are rich in vitamin D, B vitamins, and magnesium, all nutrients that help regulate cortisol. People who are deficient in these nutrients tend to have higher cortisol and more stubborn belly fat. Vitamin D in particular has a powerful relationship with fat storage. Researchers found that vitamin D deficiency is directly correlated with increased visceral fat and a larger waist circumference. 4 eggs a day provides a meaningful dose of vitamin D, one of the few non-fortified food sources of this critical fat-regulating nutrient that supports hormone production throughout your body. Let's talk about the yolk, because this is where most of the fat-burning nutrients live. Many people still eat only egg whites, but removing the yolk removes choline, vitamin D, leucine, and healthy fats. The fat in egg yolks is primarily monounsaturated fat, the same type found in olive oil and avocados. This type of fat has been shown to reduce inflammation and support healthy hormone production. Omega-3 enriched eggs from hens fed flaxseed or algae contain even more anti-inflammatory fatty acids. Chronic inflammation is one of the hidden drivers of stubborn belly fat that most people ignore. Now here's a key study. Researchers had overweight adults eat either eggs or bagels for breakfast for 8 weeks while on a calorie-reduced diet. Both groups ate the same number of calories. After 8 weeks, the egg group lost 61% more body mass, lost 35% more waist circumference, and had greater reduction in body fat compared to the bagel group. Same calories, different food, dramatically different belly fat results. This is the power of food quality over simple calorie counting, and eggs demonstrate it better than almost any other food. What about testosterone? Eggs contain cholesterol, and cholesterol is the raw material your body uses to produce testosterone. Low testosterone in both men and women is linked to increased belly fat. By providing cholesterol in a bioavailable form, eggs support your body's ability to produce sex hormones. Higher testosterone helps maintain lean muscle mass and keeps belly fat from accumulating. Eggs also contain selenium, zinc, and iodine, 3 minerals essential for thyroid function. Your thyroid controls your metabolic rate, and even mild thyroid sluggishness leads to fat gain around the midsection. When your thyroid is well nourished, your resting metabolic rate stays higher. You burn more calories at rest, you have more energy, and your body is less likely to store excess calories as abdominal fat. By now you might be wondering, is 4 eggs a day too many? Let's address that directly. For most healthy adults, research shows no significant increase in cardiovascular risk from eating up to 7 eggs per week or more. The 2020 dietary guidelines removed the specific cap on dietary cholesterol. The American Heart Association now says eggs can be part of a healthy diet for most people when consumed within an overall balanced pattern. People with type 2 diabetes or certain genetic cholesterol conditions should still consult their doctor about egg intake. But for most people, the benefits of daily egg consumption far outweigh the concerns. How you cook eggs also matters. Boiling, poaching, or scrambling with minimal oil preserves the most nutrients. Frying in seed oils or adding processed meats like sausage can undermine the benefits. The best time to eat eggs for belly fat reduction is in the morning. Eating protein early in the day extends satiety the longest, stabilizes blood sugar throughout the morning, and sets a fat-burning hormonal tone. You do not have to eat all 4 eggs at once. You can have 2 at breakfast and 2 later in the day. Spreading protein intake evenly across meals maximizes muscle protein synthesis and metabolic effects. If you pair your eggs with non-starchy vegetables like spinach, peppers, tomatoes, and mushrooms, you amplify the fat-burning effect by adding fiber, antioxidants, and micronutrients with virtually no calories. Adding avocado to your eggs further increases the healthy fat content and adds potassium, which helps reduce water retention and bloating around the midsection, something often mistaken for fat. Within the first week of eating 4 eggs a day, most people notice reduced cravings, more stable energy, and less desire for late-night snacking. These are early signs your hormones are rebalancing. Within 4 to 8 weeks of consistent egg intake, studies show measurable reductions in waist circumference, decreased visceral fat on scans, and improved cholesterol ratios in most participants. 4 eggs a day, 24 grams of protein, choline for fat metabolism, leucine for muscle, vitamin D for hormones, satiety for calorie control. The humble egg might be the most underrated belly fat weapon you have. Start tomorrow morning.